So along Liza's healing journey, she met the amazing Mel Mason. Mel Mason is also known as the Clutter Expert. I need this desperately. She's also known as the world's greatest hugger.
Yay!
I kid you not. This tiny little thing can engulf you in an embrace like you've never had in your entire lifetime. If you have the opportunity over the next day or two, get a hug from Mel Mason. It is one of the greatest things you will ever have in your life. Mel's story starts with what's going on the inside. As the clutter expert and a best-selling author, Mel is a sexual abuse survivor who grew up depressed, suicidal, and surrounded by clutter. What she realized after coming back from the brink of despair and getting through her own chaos was that the outside is just a mirror of the inside. Ouch, I heard that. If you only organize the outside without changing the inside, the clutter keeps coming back. Now I know. That's why you can clear the surface, you can organize your closet, and in no time, the clutter is back. That set her on a mission to empower people around the world to get free from clutter and experience more happiness and abundance in every area. Since then, she has used her experiences to create a step-by-step process to get your life free from clutter without feeling overwhelmed, which keeps the clutter from coming back. She says, unclutter your mind, unclutter your life, and thrive. Let's have a warm 3E welcome for Miss Mel Mason.
Thank you, my love.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
I'm that powerful.
Yes, you are. Have a seat. Okay. Hi, sweetheart.
Hello, gorgeous. Hello,
This
everyone.
is how we speak to each other.
So good to see you.
You have no idea how many times we have roomed together, and on social media, a lot of people think that we are together. We are together. So, welcome, hon. I think
Thank you,
we're
Mom.
so far away from each other.
You want to sit on my lap?
No, not today. Okay. So, you are known as the clutter expert. You're also known as the biggest hugger. Were you always a hugger?
Definitely not. I used to be extremely shut down, emotionally disconnected, and wanted to keep you far, far away.
Okay. So, we need you
Way up here.
just a tad. Okay.
I could project without a mic.
I know you could. We both could. So, I want everyone to know this is going to be raw talk. Everybody ready? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. She has said yes. A few months ago, we were walking down the street in San Diego. And as we were walking down the street, Mel turns around and says, this is exactly where I was working when I was homeless. And at that moment, I turned around and I said, this street? She says, yeah, it was right here. And then we started walking and she took me everywhere. So, in your book, you talk about how everything got started for you, how you became the clutter expert. And for those who have not read your book or don't know you, your story began from the moment you were called to open the door because your brother Would you like to tell us the story, and we go from there and we come back to San Diego?
I would be honored to. Can you guys all hear me okay? Yes. Awesome. So I did not get the name Clutter Expert by accident. I was the cluttered mess growing up. You could not walk in my room. The entire floor was covered, and it was not just stuff on my floor. I was fine having trash all over the place, and to be quite honest, if I can swear, I didn't give a rat's ass if I lived or died. And what I didn't realize at the time is that the outside is only a mirror of the inside, because on the inside, I was littered with clutter. I had experienced a lot of trauma and loss growing up in my life, and what I call inner clutter is repressed emotions, resentments, fears, limiting beliefs, and judgments. And I experienced so much trauma that I had already accumulated so much of that stuff inside that it was manifesting on the outside.
Okay. When you say trauma,
I'm about to go into it.
we're having a conversation.
Yes, I'm about to go into it. So there was, my parents divorced when I was 4 years old. At the age of 8 years old, I experienced 3 different sexual traumas by 3 different perpetrators. And by the age of 15 years old is when my older brother committed suicide. And at the time, I was living with him, and I was the one who discovered his body. And in the same moment of discovering his body, this cluttered mess already was the sole inheritor of his entire belongings. And so after finding him in his apartment, I then got to go back in and decide what I was keeping and what everybody else could have at 15 years old. So that was pretty much almost the nail in my coffin at that point.
I had not heard that terminology, the nail in your coffin. Take us back, 15 years old, you walk in. What did you look like at that time?
Tiny, 90 pounds, soaking wet, walking up the stairwell. Let me share a little bit more, because it was a little actually more traumatic. So my brother, being one of my sexual abusers, he was beginning to feel guilty while I was living with him, and he actually asked me if what he did to me affected me. And at the moment that he asked me, I could not answer him. My brother had a temper, he would break things, and I was terrified of him. And a strange turn of events, I wound up deciding I was going to say something to him. He was in the middle of town hanging out with his friends, and I walked up to him and he just looked at my face and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, actually what you did do did affect me." And he said, "I'll have your stuff packed for you and ready for you the next day." And so he pretty much left himself for me to find. There was, as I was climbing up the stairs to his apartment, there was a note on the door saying, "Door is open, come in." And he knew that I would be the one to find him.
Do you still feel it when you speak it?
Oh, absolutely. It's still painful. I don't have the resentment and the anger, but knowing that my brother left himself for me to find is pretty powerful, pretty painful. And I've done a lot of work through that. And I've also learned that we've actually committed suicide on each other multiple lifetimes in a row.
After he was gone, what was the 15-year-old? What happened to the 15-year-old?
So I decided that my life was no longer my own and that I was meant to live his life for him, and I actually shed my identity. I started wearing all of his clothes. I started walking like him, talking like him, acting like him, and planning to commit suicide exactly like him. And my high school at the time thought that I was a danger to myself and others. And they said, "You can't go to school here anymore. You get to go get intensive therapy before you come back."
Raw talk, Were you doing drugs then?
I had been doing drugs since I was 13 years old. I was drinking daily at 10 and doing drugs at 13, yes. Courtesy of my brother.
Courtesy of your brother. So in life we learn, either we get into situations because of peer pressure or we continue on what we see, what we learn, right? So what you started doing is emulating. And as you started living that life, how did you get to the next level? I mean, here's a 15-year-old drinker, smoker, drugger, abused. How did that therapy help you?
So first and foremost, I am blessed to have been connected to God at a really early age. I was about 8 years old when I was introduced to the Baptist church, and I developed a relationship with God. Once they found out my brother committed suicide, they said he was probably in hell, so the Baptist church stopped answering my questions, but I became a seeker. And when I got kicked out of the residential treatment center, when I got kicked out of high school, they sent me to a residential treatment center for adolescents, and I was a complete sponge. And it was there, while I was living there, that I was actually introduced to yoga and mindfulness. And I just soaked it up, and I started practicing yoga and meditation on a regular basis. And that was the basis of my healing, because I wasn't trying to get organized. I wasn't trying to have order in my life. Like, when I went there, I didn't care if I lived or died. And the first thing that happened as a result of practicing yoga and mindfulness on a regular basis was that desire to live came back. Like, I wanted to be here. I knew I had a purpose. I knew I wanted to be here. Just didn't know what it was going to look like. And as a byproduct, like by accident, I just started to spontaneously and effortlessly create order in my room. And I went from that kid who thrived living in chaos to someone who could no longer tolerate disorder, and everything had to be in its place, and there had to be a place for everything.
A lot of people come to me because of OCD. And I have turned the word of OCD, instead of thinking that it's obsessive. And actually, I had a 15-year-old who came and said, I have OCD and this is what I do. I said, do you know that OCD stands for obsessive? But it's a control thing. And you like things in your way, your order. How did mindfulness, yoga, and your organization bring order within you?
I love this question. So the power that, whatever you want to call it, God, source, creator, right? Whatever you believe in, that power created order out of the Big Bang, right? We're talking like order out of all of that. And that power lives inside each and every one of you like the seed in a fruit. So when people say I don't have the organizing gene, I call BS, because that power's in you already. The only thing that's happened is there's all this interference, all this inner clutter that gets in the way. And when you remove it, it's your natural state of being to have order in your life. And what I'll say about OCD, I love that you brought this up, is people have these labels. I can't stand labels. I don't call people hoarders. I don't label OCD. But we have a continuum. And on one end is hoarding behavior.
Yep.
And on the other end is OCD behavior. But it all comes from the same source. It's just opposite ends of the spectrum. Some people go to the disordered, messy, attached. And other people go to the need to have everything rigid and perfect and nothing can be out of order, but it all comes from the same inner clutter.
That's right. I remember I had a friend, we went partying to their house, and at night I wanted to go to the restroom, and she said, you can use the restroom in my bedroom. So I went there and I dropped my earring. So I come to pick up my earring, and underneath her bed was, everything was cluttered underneath. And now that you're saying it, I've thought about this so many times. What is it that we hide underneath? And when we hide underneath, and it can be on our organ, our body shows it, or we just put it under the bed, hiding it in order for it not to surface. So as we are evoking, talking about it, has writing the book or talking about this, has that helped you heal more, or the reiteration also is making it worse? The audio. Audio. It's okay. Is that making it worse, or is that helping you heal? Because repetition, every time we say it, it's like us remembering it again and again. So in a way, there are therapists and gurus that they say, stop repeating it. How has that helped you?
I think when you share it in an empowering way and you're not reminiscing and ruminating on it, it's totally different. And we're never done. The clutter expert still has clutter. I'm constantly uncovering limiting beliefs and
Layers.
emotions that are still stuck in there. We're human, and we've all had so many different experiences. I mean, I just graduated a leadership program, and it was like all this stuff that I thought I had walked through. It was like, oh, we're visiting this again? So we're never done, and it's only helped me heal more and reveal more and more to clear, so that I can just have more of a clear connection to source.
Okay. So what's next? What is the decluttering doing now besides doing the books? How are we helping someone else? What does declutter mean? Is it the way we eat? Is it the way we dress? Is it the way it's our closet? What is decluttering?
I love this question. So all clutter accumulates because of one reason, an unwillingness to look. That's it. And the outside is only a mirror of the inside. So all of that simply means is there's an unwillingness to look within. But when you hear the word clutter, the first thing you probably think about is stuff accumulating, the garage you can't park your car in, or the closet that's overflowing. But that's just one of the ways that it manifests externally. I had so many different manifestations. We're talking the drug addiction, being too busy, carrying excess weight on the body, not having financial abundance flow into your life, hanging out in toxic relationships. Those are all manifestations of the same internal condition. And so when you become willing to look, this is what I love about what I teach. When you become willing to look, every area of your life gets better. I was 170 pounds. I was in a 12-year toxic marriage. I was a crack cocaine, crystal meth addict, homeless on the streets, mounting debt, over $50,000 in debt. And all of that has shifted. I've manifested thousands and thousands of dollars, got out of the toxic relationship, obviously released the weight. I'm in the best health of my life, and the clutter's gone.
And the clutter is gone. And yeah, not only the clutter, the relationship is gone.
Yes, the relationship is gone.
So I remember that one time when, was it early in the morning? You called, and she had just had an accident.
There was no accident. I crashed my truck.
I'm trying to be subtle. Okay, so you crashed your car. There are no accidents. Remember when we were talking? Okay, you want to tell the story? She calls and she's like, you have no idea what just happened to me. Like, what happened? Out of nowhere, I just crashed my car. Out of nowhere. All right, coming back from book signing. Go ahead.
Okay, first, the most powerful thing about this story is that the truck was the ex-wife. She's who picked it out, right? I got it in the divorce, right? And I am driving down, if you guys know this area, the 74 in Palm Desert. It's a very windy, mountainous road. I feel the need for speed. I came in first place in a stock car race before I ever came out of my mother's womb, so I have a tendency to have a lead foot. I was testing out my new tires I just got on my truck. I was completely sober, but I lost control of the truck and it crashed into a mountain and it flipped over at least twice, heading towards the cliffside where I just prepared to go off the cliff and blow up into a fiery ball of flames. But that didn't happen. I landed right side up on the same side of the street I was driving down, and I had no injuries. But wait, so I got out of the truck to collect my stuff that had flown all over the street. I had just come from a book signing, so I had all these books in my truck. They were all over the street. And I pick something up and I get a cut on my hand from a piece of glass. So the truck was totaled, which was the ex-wife's, and the cut was on my ring finger. So I literally severed the ties to my ex-wife, crashing the truck, which Toyotas don't lose their value, so they gave me $10,000 for a 2005.
So there are no accidents. And when she told me and I said, what finger was it? She says, this finger. And I said, oh, that's perfect. Now it's all done. And the last thing that had to be done was what? Her phone number. Every time she would call me on my cell phone, the ex-wife's number would show, the name would show up. I'm like, Mel, you have to change this. I don't want to see her name every time you call. It's like, that can't be done because this is going on until what? One day she says, okay, I'm sick and tired of, I have to wipe that off too. And we did. You did, not I. But, so congratulations for all that you have done to where you are. Not only you are climbing as the beautiful spirit that you are, Mel, but more importantly, you are climbing, making an impact in the lives of so many people who hide stuff underneath and are afraid to peel it, to let it out. And your energy is like magical and fire. So kudos for all the climbing that you're doing at the hike and the marathon. For someone who's not even a jogger, goes to become a marathon runner. Bravo to you, girl. Bravo. So I think instead of being an addict to something that numbs you, you have taken on a new addiction, not an addiction. An addiction to add into your life and to others. And for that, I am grateful and honored to having you in my life. And for us, for whatever reason God has brought you and I together, we have a journey together. Thank you, Mel.
Yes, we do.
I love you. Oh, I love you too.
All right, I have something small for you.
Oh.
Wait.
Oh.
I don't know what to adjust, the mic, my eyes, my hair. A small little token of appreciation, because everything in life is evoking, embracing, and evolving, and that's everything in here. And for that. All right.
Thank you, my
Mel
love.
Mason.
Thank you, my love.
Thank you. All right.